All right. What's up, everybody? I'm just going to check this, make sure that we are going live. I will need to fix. There we go. Oh, all right. So it seems that we are live. And if you guys are tuning in, make sure that you let me know where you are tuning in from. I myself am tuning in from St. Pete, Florida. Go ahead and tell me in the comments in the chat below where you guys are tuning in from. See if I get my camera straightened out here. Right on. I hope everyone is doing well today. If you can hear it in my voice, I have been on the phones all day and my voice is getting pretty beat up, but that's okay. Richard Crump, there he is. In Vegas. Yes. I just left Vegas, Richard. How are you enjoying it? I was there for 2 years and loved it. And I got to say, the people in Vegas are amazing. The locals, everyone. When I moved to Vegas, everyone asked me the same thing. They said, what is it like living in Vegas? And I have to say, it was mellow. And people they're always shocked to hear that. It was mellow because the locals are not hanging out on the strip. They're not eat, sleep, rave, repeat all day. They got stuff to do. They got work. And so the locals, from my experience, I felt it was like living in a Midwest town, very friendly, very family oriented. And even when meeting new people, they were a little bit standoffish because I was new, and Vegas being a very transient type place. However, once I had connected with people, got to know them, they were very open. In fact, so much so that I felt like family. They treated me like family. So it was tough to leave, but I moved to Vegas as an opportunity to get out of LA during the pandemic. And then I am now back in Florida. The locals hit up Fremont. Yes, they do. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Richard. I went to Fremont a lot on the weekends just because I enjoyed, there was a lot of bands playing down there. And of course, you could go see some of the bands, have a lot of fun, and then go to some of the local spots. For me, there was local spots like Evil Pie would have bands. There was another place called the Griffin that I liked. And my favorite hangout was not on Fremont. It wasn't on the strip. It was called Vamped. And Vamped, can't remember the street. Is it Rainbow? Regardless, it was a very fun place, great bands, and just wonderful people. So yeah, absolutely. Oh, you'll be in Vegas this weekend. I got it. Now I got it, Richard. Right on. Well, thanks, buddy. Yeah, enjoy yourself. It is a wonderful, wonderful town. Loving your enthusiasm, getting more stoked for the weekend. Right on. Well, yeah, buddy, I loved Vegas. It's wonderful. But I told myself that I would come check out Florida for a bit. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Well, Richard, if you get a chance to go to Vamped, check it out. It's a wonderful local music scene and it's a lot of fun. And here's the best part, Richard, you're going to love this, right? Keep this in mind. If I went on the strip drinking, my tab might be $150 on the strip. That same tab off the strip was always like $30, $40. So keep that in mind, buddy. And here, I'll give you the secret to Fremont too, since you're on the call, buddy. The secret to Fremont is if you're looking to do it cheap, don't buy beers from the stands. Buy beers from the little bodegas, the little stores that are on Fremont. They're half the price. There you go. So there is my locals tip for you rolling down on Fremont. And I can't remember. There's also one casino bar down on Fremont, and I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but they had $3 Heinekens. So, and it is by the backstage where Spandex Nation would play. So that there you go. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, enjoy yourself, buddy. Right on. All right. So guys, today we're going to talk about 3 pillars to social mastery. And I want to go over those pillars. These are very important steps. In order to achieve social mastery, you must achieve these 3 pillars, and we'll get into it about that. Yeah, buddy, that is helpful. Good to know. All right. So, but first, I want to say hello to a few people. So I want to give a shout out to all the new faces in the group. So Letta, hello, Michael, Sam, Maxwell, Jesse, Alan, Chris, Giuliano, Nicholas, Liz, Derek, Alan, James, Eric, Amra, Jeffrey, Neil, Manesh, Stacy, David, Raza, Bella, and Bev. How you guys doing? Welcome to the group. We go live every weekend. I wish AJ was here with me, but he is out. He is at a wedding in Utah, so it is just me, guys. So, but that's okay. That Richard seems to not mind about that, so that's okay. And if you're tuning in, go ahead and tell me in the comments where you're tuning in from. And Richard, where do you live? Which way are you coming into Vegas? Let me know. All right. So with that, guys, I just wanted to let you know that we go live every Saturday. I'm sorry, live every Thursday, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. We're here to answer your questions if you got any, and all of that good stuff. Richard, have we talked on the phone? Now I'm starting to think you're familiar. I got to tell you, here's a story about Houston, my friend. The first time I was ever in Houston, I get to town. We were running a live program. This was about 10 years ago. And we get to town. We get there early, a couple days early to get comfortable, check out Houston. It was my first time there. And we get into town, and our host for the evening says, guys, if this is your first time, you got to check out a rodeo. So I was like, I want to go to a rodeo. So, and I didn't know what to expect. Now, outside of Houston, there's a little town called Conroe. I bet you know it, don't you, Richard? So Conroe hosted, I guess it is one of the real rodeos, not one of the mainstream, all the advertising, all the money, all the big televisions and all that. This was Conroe. It was a qualifier, one of the circuit rodeos for the big rodeos. And that's where we went, and it was amazing. I had so much fun. I never seen anything like that before, and I had a blast. Conroe was rad. Richard's like, I know those people from Conroe. Right on. Awesome. All right. Yeah, Conroe was rad, man. It was so cool. All right, so let's get into it. I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting. We're going to talk about social mastery. I'm going to try to throw up a slide here, and if you got questions, you may throw them in the chat below. And then also with that, yeah, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm going to go ahead and get that on. All right, let's see here. I'm not the most technically proficient dude on the planet, I'll tell you that much. All right, so 3 pillars to social mastery. This is it. This is what we're talking about. These are the things that you need. Now, I love this because upon learning and integrating each one of these pieces, your life changes significantly. Let me tell you guys a story. When I was 28 years old, And I talk to a lot of young people on the phones, and specifically a lot of young men. And a lot of the calls that I get on, there's two types. There's the late 30s guys and the late 20s guys, and the issues are all a little bit different. But one common theme for young people in their late 20s is they see 30 as a very significant event in their life. This is a milestone number. And for myself, I saw 30 as I'm supposed to be an adult at 30. 30 means I'm out of my 20s and I need to have it together. So at 28, I start to sweat it out. I'm starting to think, well, if 30 means I'm an adult and I need to have it all together, I'm in no place near that. In fact, I was like, I got all of my 20s as data to tell me where I am. And at 28 years old, staring at 30, I am not near where I want to be. And this is what hit me hardest. I realized at that time that in the current trajectory that I was heading, staring at 30, all the data of my 20s that tell me which direction I was going and where I was, I came to the conclusion that I was nowhere near where I wanted to be. And that if I didn't make significant changes in my life, then I could expect more of the same. And the thing that freaked me out the most was the realization that I was going to relive my 20s in my 30s. And it was that thought that freaked me out. And I decided right there and then, and this is Newton's law, right? An object in motion will stay in motion unless an equal or opposite force changes that motion, changes that direction. And so I realized that if I didn't make significant changes, if I didn't shake the box, so to speak, that reliving my 20s in my 30s was going to be the result. So I got into self-development. I got into self-development as an opportunity to learn skills, to learn about myself, and to learn about other people in order to change that trajectory. And one obsession rolled into the next. I was utterly obsessed with human behavior and the things that I was learning, psychology wise, philosophy wise, and started to begin implementing these changes in my life. Those changes had significant impact, so much so that I dove into self-development, specifically emotional intelligence, 100%, because my life started improving each and every day that I was engaged in the skills that I was learning. And it was a blast. And I want it to be a blast for you guys. So here's the 3 pillars to social mastery. So we'll go through these one by one. So the first one is going to be unstoppable confidence. Let's see if there's any. Richard says, better rodeos, good barbecue. Damn straight. Oh, yeah. All right. So the first one is confidence, building unstoppable confidence. And you may think that you are confident right now, but you're confident right now in your comfort zone. The things that you've learned, the things that you do repeatedly. For myself, because I wasn't near where I wanted to be in life, I realized that I was going to have to step outside of my comfort zone to make new things happen, to make the things happen that I needed to. So that meant that I was going to be uncomfortable. That meant that I was going to be learning. That also meant that I was not going to be confident, that I was going to be insecure in the new skills that I was learning and the new social settings that I had put myself in. So I began slowly to implement steps to build that confidence. That confidence in building that means failing stumbling, and then slowly gaining competence over the skills that I was looking to gain. Now, I was confident in the bar that I worked at. I was confident on the stage that I was performing at and performing on, and I was confident within the realm of my social circle. But the things that I wanted and where I wanted to go were outside of those social settings. So there was a lot of failing. There was a lot of stumbling, but slowly but surely, with set up processes, understanding what my core values were, and learning to rewire myself so that when I was in a heightened emotional state, I chose growth over the old programming, which would keep me safe. All of us are wired to stay safe. When you move outside of your comfort zone, you have psychological mechanisms. These are evolutionary mechanisms to hold you back, to keep you safe, to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. But what I learned was everything that I wanted was on the other side of that growth. And so I took those opportunities to stumble, to fail, to slowly start gaining competence, which bred confidence. And now for myself, if I have to do a talk. So for instance, a few weeks ago, speaking of Vegas, the last week I was there, I had to speak at Nellis Air Force Base. I hadn't been to that Air Force Base before. My friend who got me the speaking gig told me 2 days before it. Now, when he brought up, hey, do you want to speak at Nellis Air Force Base? I have an opportunity for you to speak. I would love for you to do it. It'll be a good opportunity for you. Everything in my body said, no, don't do it. But because of the work that I have done over the years, I realized the answer to that question, no matter how I felt emotionally, the answer to that question logically was yes. So I reluctantly said yes, and then started doing the work in order to prepare for that speaking opportunity. And it was great. I had a blast. Now, when I look back at that opportunity, I probably could have done it better. There are things that I probably would have changed having been through it. But the people who were there really enjoyed the talk. My friend who got me the gig to speak was incredibly impressed. He was mind blown. He thought I was going to stumble because he threw that on me at the last minute. But it was because of the work that I had put in, the processes that I had put together, and understanding what my core values are, what means the most to me, and decisions to make those changes. I spoke to a guy today who mentioned that he wasn't feeling motivated to make changes in his life, and he couldn't understand why. The most important thing to understand in that situation is that if you're waiting around to be motivated, you're going to be waiting around for a very long time, because you don't wait around to get motivated to go to the gym. You go to the gym to get motivated, right? You make things happen. You step into the arena, you give it your best shot, and you go from there. At this point in my life, I'm so geared to taking those opportunities that no matter how I might feel inside, I'm excited about it. I'm taking the bold choice. Every time that I do one of those talks, and public speaking is, for some people, is the most terrifying experience. They'd rather find themselves in a trench fighting a war than to speak on stage in front of people. And my body, my mind, in the same manner, told me no. But that's not going to get me closer to where I want to be. So saying yes to those opportunities is incredibly important. So let's roll it to the next one. Crafting your unique charisma. Now, like most people, when I was in my 20s, I had certain goals in mind. I had developed a certain personality through the environment that I was raised in and the experiences that I had. But I had found myself many times in a bar setting, in a date, surrounded with new people at times, and I was quiet. I didn't know what to say. I was scared of putting the spotlight on myself. I was nervous that I might speak out of turn, say the wrong thing, or to feel imposter syndrome. Like, I can't believe I'm sitting here with an opportunity to speak to these people and I got nothing to say. So it was developing my unique charisma and understanding and developing that through my values, what are the most important things to me, and engaging in them daily and creating what is my personality and expanding it to a new level so that I would be able to walk into a room, gain the attention of people, to have that spotlight and make the most out of those opportunities, to never run out of things to say, and to be able to speak about things passionately, confidently, and excitingly, and draw people in, getting them on board. One of the jobs that I have here at AOC is to get people on board. So for instance, if you were in the X Factor, our online program, it's all about getting you fired up, getting you engaged in the process of your growth, being able to discuss what that was like for myself, showing clients what it was like for other folks in that room to go on that journey and what lies on the other side of that. This is where the magic is. And developing your charisma boosts your persuasion and influence when you're in that room with other people. This is what you're looking for, to not only break the ice, but raise the state emotionally of the people around you, getting them fired up. That's incredibly important. Think about if you got a position in an office and you're a manager over projects, you got to get buy-in from everybody on that team. Not only do you got to get buy-in, you got to fire them up, so much so that you can leave that office and they're on cloud nine, churning it out, grinding it. Why? Because you did that. You fired them up. You heightened that state and they're off and running. It's incredibly important. This is why, with all of the frameworks and strategies that we lay out in the X Factor, that people find a road, a path to build up their charisma, to find out the unique sauce that makes them, and then using their confidence to amplify that charisma so that when they leave that social gathering, people are asking, who was that guy? Who is Johnny? Wow, that guy was really interesting. Something that they're going to remember. And here's the best part. A lot of people want to think and say the right thing, get people laughing. I need to be witty. I need to tell a good story so that people remember me. It's not in the story. It's not in the words that you use. It's how you make those people feel. If you raise their emotional state and you got them to a place where they feel excited and laughing and comfortable being around you, when they see you again, they go back into that emotional state. They have those good feelings. Those good feelings are then attached to you. That's what makes you influential. That's what makes you persuasive. And then lastly, it is expanding your social connection. So this is the part. See if there's any questions here. Right on. So that is the part that allows you to connect emotionally and build rapport with anyone, anywhere. Having frameworks and tools that allow you to step by step create those moments where you are not only connecting, but then using that connection to strengthen those bonds. We have step-by-step processes for people to learn this. Now, we have these videos in the group. You can check them out if you like. If you're looking for rapport building, just put in the chat below rapport, and I'll shoot you one of those videos. If you're looking for conversational tools, put conversation in the chat below, and I'll get you one of those videos. These step-by-step frameworks will allow you to get good at the tools that allow you to connect with people. And when you're building a network, you need to be confident to put yourself out there and introduce and approach people. You need to use your charisma to draw people in, get them in a heightened emotional state, and have them seeing you as a charismatic person. And then lastly, creating those bonds and using these strategies to strengthen those bonds so that those connections, once those bonds are created, that you're always able to recall to those people, to reach out, because they're going to remember you in that way, that you have that bond, that you have built great rapport. Our rapport process and the strategies that we use are so effective that the United States Special Forces have been sending their troops through to learn these skills for diplomacy, for political advancement, for transitioning outside of the military into civilian life, to build their networks and make these connections, because the success that you are looking for is all going to come through the support, encouragement, and celebration of the people around you. And so if this is something that you're interested in and you want to get experience in not only learning, but mastering these 3 pillars, then put X Factor in the comments or shoot me a DM and I will get you that info. This is what we do in our X Factor program, where you are working online with people all over the world who are like-minded and value-oriented to growth. And it was funny, I was just chatting with somebody that back to that story when I was 28 years old, and I decided that I was going to put myself out to learn these skills, that I didn't have any other friends who were on this journey with me. So I had to go find those people. I wanted to surround myself with people who are involved in self-development, because I know how important it is to have influential people around you. Did you know that you are influenced by everyone around you? You've heard that old saying, right? You can only rise as high as your 5 closest friends. Well, there's a reason that trope goes around and around and around, because you can look at somebody's friends and understand their worldview, what their aspirations are, and what their motivations are, because all of those things are wrapped up in people's values. And if you don't find like-minded, high-value people that are on the same path that you are, well, then you're going to be influenced into other directions and other trajectories and other paths that other people are on. And you want to make sure that you are going towards your goals, towards your accomplishments. All right. So with that, I am going to head out. If there's anyone on, I'll give you a second here to ask a question. Richard, if you're still on, thank you for popping on, and I hope you enjoy yourself in Vegas, and have fun. Keep your head on a swivel down at Fremont. It can get a little hairy down there. There's a lot of people, they're drunk, they're partying, it's wilding out. So, but there's a lot of good entertainment down there, a lot of great bands. And in fact, all the cool casinos are down there. If you're down in Fremont area, Circa is a lot of fun. The Gold Nugget, of course, is a lot of fun. It's just old school stomping grounds. It's a good time. All right. So guys, with that, I am going to head out. It was wonderful chatting with you guys. Have a fantastic Thursday evening and have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend. We'll see you soon. Cheers.